Jake Martinez wiped the sweat from his face as he walked down the long hallway of the space station. His tool bag made soft clinking sounds with each step. The station was huge, bigger than any building back on Earth. It floated in space between the stars where humans and aliens could meet safely. Jake had been working on the station for 3 years now. He fixed things that broke and cleaned things that got dirty. It was not exciting work, but Jake liked it. He was good at fixing things, and he enjoyed helping people, even alien people. The diplomatic section of the station was always quiet. This was where the important aliens stayed when they visited. Jake had to be extra careful here. One wrong move could cause big problems between Earth and alien worlds. He stopped outside room 47C. His work order said there was a problem with the air system. Jake checked his tools one more time, then pressed the door button. The door slid open with a soft whoosh. The room was dark. Jake stepped inside and turned on his flashlight. The beam of light moved across expensive furniture and strange alien decorations. Then the light stopped on something that made Jake gasp. An alien sat in a chair near the window. She was tall, much taller than any human. Her skin was pale blue, like the color of Earth's sky. Her hair was long and white, flowing down her back like water. But what really caught Jake's attention was her armor. The armor covered her from neck to feet. It was made of some kind of metal that Jake had never seen before. Strange symbols covered every inch of it. The symbols seemed to tell a story, but Jake could not read them. The armor should have been beautiful, but it looked terrible. Dirt and grime covered the metal. Some parts were so dirty that Jake could barely see the symbols underneath. Other parts had dark stains that looked like they had been there for months. The whole suit looked like it had been through a war. The alien was asleep. Her breathing was slow and steady. She looked tired even while sleeping. Jake could see dark circles under her eyes. Jake looked at his work order again. It said to fix the air system, nothing about cleaning armor. But Jake could not just ignore what he saw. His mother had always taught him to help others when he could. It did not matter if they were human or alien. Jake set down his tool bag quietly. He looked at the sleeping alien again. She had not moved. Jake decided to fix the air system first. Then maybe he could help with the armor. The air system was easy to fix. Just a loose wire that needed to be connected again. Jake worked as quietly as he could. The alien never woke up. When Jake finished with the air system, he looked at the armor again. It really was in bad shape. Jake had cleaned many different alien metals before. Each type needed special care, but Jake had learned how to work with all of them. Jake opened his tool bag and took out his cleaning supplies. He had bottles of different liquids, each one made for different types of metal. He had soft claws that would not scratch. He had small brushes for getting into tight spaces. Jake started with a small test on the back of the armor where the alien would not see it. He picked the gentlest cleaner and applied just a tiny bit to a cloth. Then he rubbed very softly on a small spot. The dirt came off easily. Underneath, the metal shone like a mirror. Beautiful blue and silver colors swirled together in patterns that seemed to move in the light. Jake had never seen anything so beautiful. Jake smiled. He could help. He would be very careful and very quiet. The alien needed rest, and when she woke up, her armor would be clean. Jake worked slowly and carefully. He started at the feet and worked his way up. Each section of armor told part of a story through its symbols. Jake could not read the symbols, but he could see they were important. Some showed battles. Others showed peaceful scenes with strange alien creatures. As Jake cleaned, more and more of the armor's beauty showed through. The metal was not just one color, but many colors that changed as the light hit them. The symbols were not just carved into the metal, but filled with some kind of glowing material that became brighter as Jake cleaned. Jake found himself enjoying the work. This was not like fixing a broken pipe or replacing a light. This was like restoring a work of art. Each symbol he uncovered was more beautiful than the last. Hours passed. Jake's back started to hurt from bending over, but he did not stop. He was almost finished. Just the chest piece and arms were left. The chest piece was the most decorated part of the armor. The symbols here were larger and more complex. Jake could see they were very important, maybe the most important part of the whole suit. He cleaned extra carefully here. As Jake worked on the last arm piece, he heard a soft sound behind him. The alien was waking up. Jake froze. He had been so focused on his work that he had not noticed her stirring. Jake turned around slowly. The alien's eyes were open. They were large and bright green like emeralds. She was looking right at him. For a moment, neither of them moved. Jake held his cleaning cloth in one hand and looked at the alien. The alien looked at Jake, then at her armor, then back at Jake. The alien's eyes grew even wider. Her mouth opened slightly. She sat up straight in her chair, her whole body going stiff. "Do you know what that means?" she asked. Her voice was soft but serious. She spoke English, but with an accent Jake had never heard before. Each word was pronounced very carefully, like she had practiced them many times. Jake looked down at the armor, then back at the alien. The armor was now shining like new. Every symbol was clearly visible. The metal reflected the room's lights in beautiful patterns. "I was just trying to help," Jake said. "Your armor was dirty." "I thought you might want it clean." The alien continued to stare at him. She did not look angry, but she did not look happy either. She looked shocked, like Jake had just told her something impossible. "You cleaned my armor," she said slowly. "Yes," Jake replied. "I'm sorry if I did something wrong. I can put the dirt back if you want." Jake knew that sounded silly as soon as he said it. You could not put dirt back on something. But he was nervous. The alien was still staring at him with those big green eyes. The alien stood up slowly. She was even taller than Jake had thought. She looked down at her armor, touching different symbols gently with her fingers. "Do you know what that means?" she asked again. Jake shook his head. "I do not know what it means. I just wanted to help. You looked tired and your armor was dirty." The alien woman sat back down in her chair. She put her hands on her knees and took a deep breath. "My name is Zareth. I am from the Veltar Empire. I am Jake Martinez. I work here on the station. I fix things and clean things." Zareth nodded slowly. "Jake Martinez, you have done something very important. Something that changes everything." Jake felt his stomach drop. "Did I break something?" "I was very careful. I used the right cleaners for your type of metal." "No, you did not break anything," Zareth said. "But you have started something. Something that my people take very seriously." Before Jake could ask what she meant, loud footsteps came from the hallway. The door opened and 3 people rushed in. Jake recognized Dr. Lisa Campbell, the alien expert. Behind her came Ambassador Elena Rodriguez and Commander Ryan Burke. "Martinez, step away from the alien," Commander Burke said in a sharp voice. "It is okay," Zareth said, standing up again. "He has done nothing wrong. But we need to talk." Dr. Campbell looked at Zareth's shining armor and her face went pale. "Oh no, Jake, what did you do?" "I cleaned her armor," Jake said. "She was sleeping and it was dirty, so I cleaned it." Ambassador Rodriguez stepped forward. "With respect, honored Zareth, we apologize for any cultural mistakes our worker may have made." Zareth raised one hand. "There is no mistake. But there is much to explain. We must call my people. This situation is very complex." Dr. Campbell pulled Jake to one side. "Jake, do you have any idea what you have done?" "I cleaned some armor. Everyone keeps asking me that, but no one will tell me what I did wrong." "You might not have done anything wrong," Dr. Campbell said. "But you might have done something very, very big." 2 hours later, Jake sat in the station's main meeting room. The room was full of people he had never seen before. Important people in fancy uniforms sat around a large table. At the head of the table sat an old alien who looked like Zareth, but taller and with more wrinkles. Zareth sat next to the old alien. She had changed out of her armor and now wore simple clothes, but Jake could see her armor hanging on a stand behind her chair, still shining like new. "This is High Counselor Thexara," Ambassador Rodriguez said to the room. "She has come from the Veltar homeworld to discuss this situation." High Counselor Thexara stood up. When she spoke, her voice was deep and powerful. "We are here because something unprecedented has happened. Something that has never occurred in the history of our people." Jake shifted in his chair. All of this seemed too big for just cleaning some armor. Dr. Campbell stood up next. She had a computer tablet in her hands. "For those who do not know Veltar culture, let me explain what happened here today." She pressed some buttons on her tablet and pictures appeared on the wall screen. The pictures showed Veltar aliens in ceremonies. In Veltar society, armor is not just protection. It is a reflection of the person's soul. The symbols on each suit tell the story of that person's life. Their victories, their losses, their hopes. More pictures appeared. These showed Veltar couples performing various ceremonies. The care of a warrior's armor is a sacred duty. Only certain people are allowed to touch it. Family members can clean small parts. Close friends can help with repairs. But there is only one group of people who can clean an entire suit of armor. Dr. Campbell paused and looked around the room. Only life mates. Husbands and wives. The cleaning of armor is part of the marriage ceremony. It is called shalandra, which means tending the soul's reflection. Jake felt his face get hot. Are you saying that we are married? Zareth said quietly. According to my people's laws, yes. When you cleaned my entire suit of armor with such care, you performed the marriage ritual. The room was silent for a long moment. Jake could hear his heart beating in his ears. High Counselor Thexara spoke again. This puts us in a difficult position. Our laws are ancient and sacred. They cannot be easily changed or ignored. Commander Burke leaned forward. Surely there must be exceptions. Jake did not know about your customs. He was just trying to help. That makes it more significant, not less, the High Counselor said. In our culture, intent matters less than action. If someone cares for another's armor without being asked, it shows pure kindness. This is the highest form of the marriage ritual. Ambassador Rodriguez looked worried. What does this mean for relations between our peoples? That depends, the High Counselor said, on what young Jake Martinez chooses to do. All eyes turned to Jake. He felt like he was in a dream. A few hours ago, he had been fixing air systems and cleaning dirty metal. Now he was apparently married to an alien princess, and everyone was waiting for him to make a decision that could affect two entire species. I do not understand, Jake said. What choices do I have? Zareth spoke up. You can reject the ritual. You can say it was a mistake and walk away. My people would understand. And if I do that, then nothing changes. You go back to your work. I continue my mission here. We pretend this never happened. What is the other choice? Zareth looked at her hands. You can accept the ritual. You can agree to be bound to me according to Veltar law. What would that mean? High Counselor Thexara answered. It would mean you become part of our family. You would have all the rights and responsibilities of a Veltar life mate. You would be under the protection of our empire. And it would mean, Dr. Campbell added, that you would be the first human ever to be married into Veltar nobility. Zareth is not just a warrior. She is the daughter of a High Counselor. Jake looked at Zareth. She was looking back at him with those big green eyes. He could not tell what she was thinking. What do you want me to do? Jake asked her. I want you to choose freely, Zareth said. This situation is strange for me too. I have never been married before. I came to this station to study human culture, not to find a husband. You were studying us. Yes. My people wanted to know if humans were ready for deeper friendship with our empire. I have been watching humans work and live. I have been watching you specifically for several weeks. Me? Why me? Because you are kind to everyone. You treat alien technology with respect. You work hard and you help others. These are qualities my people value. Jake felt his face get hot again. You were watching me work? I was. I saw how carefully you maintained the Zelthan meditation chambers. I watched you learn how to fix Cronin food processors. You always took time to understand before you acted. Except today. Jake looked around the room again. All these important people were waiting for his answer. The future of human-alien relations might depend on what he said next. Can I have some time to think about this? Jake asked. Of course, High Counselor Thexara said. This is not a decision to make quickly. Take all the time you need. How much time do I have? 3 days, Zareth said. After that, if you have not decided, Veltar law says the ritual becomes invalid. Ambassador Rodriguez stood up. We will provide Jake with all the information he needs to make an informed decision, and we will respect whatever choice he makes. As the meeting ended and people began to leave, Zareth approached Jake. I know this is confusing and frightening, she said, but I want you to know something. What you did today, cleaning my armor with such care, it was beautiful. No one has ever done something so kind for me. She reached out and touched Jake's hand briefly. Her skin was warm, not cold like he had expected. Whatever you decide, I will not forget your kindness. Then she left with the other Veltar, leaving Jake alone with his thoughts and the biggest decision of his life. Jake could not sleep that night. He lay in his small room staring at the ceiling. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Zareth's green eyes looking at him. He kept thinking about her words. Do you know what that means? The next morning, Jake's door chimed early. He opened it to find Dr. Campbell standing in the hallway with 2 cups of coffee. Thought you might need this, she said, handing him a cup. Jake let her into his room. They sat at his small table by the window. Outside, stars twinkled in the darkness of space. "How are you feeling?" Dr. Campbell asked. Confused, scared. "I do not understand why this is so important to everyone." Dr. Campbell sipped her coffee. "Jake, do you know how many alien species humans have contact with?" 12, I think. 15 now. "And do you know how many of them consider us equals?" Jake thought about it. "I do not know. 3, maybe 4 on a good day. Most aliens see us as young and inexperienced. Some see us as dangerous. A few see us as useful. But very few see us as equals." "What does that have to do with me and Zarath?" "The Veltar are one of the most powerful empires in this part of the galaxy. They have been watching humanity for 50 years, trying to decide if we are worth their time. This situation with you and Zarath could change everything." Jake set down his coffee cup. "That is too much pressure. I am just a maintenance worker." "That might be exactly what makes this so important," Dr. Campbell said. "You are not a diplomat or a politician. You are just a regular human who did something kind. That says something about all of humanity." After Dr. Campbell left, Jake went to work as usual, but nothing felt normal. Other workers stared at him in the hallways. Some whispered when they thought he could not hear them. A few patted him on the back and called him a hero. Jake tried to focus on his work, but his mind kept wandering. He was checking the water systems in Section C when Captain Steve Morrison found him. "Martinez, I need to talk to you," the security chief said. They walked to Morrison's office. The captain closed the door and gestured for Jake to sit. "I'm going to be direct with you," Morrison said. "Earth government is not happy about this situation." "Why not?" "Because they think you might mess things up. They are worried that if you say yes to this marriage, other aliens will expect humans to follow their customs too. They think it sets a bad precedent." Jake felt his stomach tighten. "So they want me to say no?" "Some do. Others think this could be good for us. The Veltar have technology we need, resources we want. An alliance with them could help humanity expand into the galaxy." "So they want me to say yes?" Morrison shrugged. "Nobody knows what they want. That is the problem. Everyone is arguing about it." That afternoon, Jake met with Dr. Alex Turner, the station's expert on Veltar culture. Dr. Turner had been studying the Veltar for 20 years. "Let me tell you about Zarath," Dr. Turner said. "She is not just any Veltar. She is one of their most promising young leaders, smart, educated, and from a powerful family. What is she doing here? Learning about us. The Veltar sent her to study human culture and decide if we are ready for a deeper relationship with their empire. And now I am part of her study? In a way, yes. How you handle this situation will tell the Veltar a lot about human character." Dr. Turner showed Jake pictures of Veltar society. Their cities were beautiful, with tall spires that reached into the clouds. Their technology was advanced, but they still honored old traditions. "They value honor above everything else," Dr. Turner explained. "Honor to family, honor to promises, honor to duty. What you did cleaning Zarath's armor showed great honor, but I did not know what it meant. That makes it more honorable, not less. You helped someone because it was the right thing to do, not because you wanted something in return." That evening, Jake was eating dinner alone when someone sat across from him. He looked up to see Zarath. "May I join you?" she asked. Of course, Zarath had a plate of human food. She picked at it carefully, trying small bites. "How do you like our food?" Jake asked. "It is interesting. Very different from Veltar cuisine, but not bad." They ate in silence for a few minutes. Finally, Zarath spoke. "I want to apologize for putting you in this difficult position. It is not your fault. I am the one who cleaned your armor." "Yes, but I should have woken up and stopped you. I was tired from my journey, but that is no excuse." Jake studied her face. "Can I ask you something?" "Yes. What do you want me to do?" "Not what your people want or what my people want. What do you want?" Zarath was quiet for a long time. She pushed food around on her plate with her fork. "I do not know," she said finally. "This situation is as new for me as it is for you. I have spent my life preparing to serve my people, not thinking about marriage." "Were you supposed to marry someone else?" "Eventually, yes. My family had arrangements with several other noble families, political marriages to strengthen alliances. That sounds lonely." "It is the way of my people. We marry for duty, not for love." Jake felt sorry for her. "On Earth, most people marry for love." "I know. I've been studying your customs. It seems nice, but also frightening. How do you know if someone truly loves you? Jake thought about his parents who had been married for 30 years. I think you just know. You want to make them happy. You want to take care of them. You miss them when they are gone. Zareth nodded slowly. The armor cleaning ritual comes from those feelings. Long ago, Veltar warriors would return from battle dirty and tired. Their mates would clean their armor as a way of welcoming them home and showing they cared. That is beautiful. Yes. Over time, it became part of our marriage ceremony. Now it is required by law. The next day brought more complications. Jake was called to another meeting, this time with even more people. Representatives from other alien species had arrived at the station. Everyone wanted to know what Jake would decide. Ambassador Rodriguez looked tired. This situation has become bigger than just you and Zareth, she told Jake. Other species are watching to see how we handle interspecies relationships. What do you mean? Some aliens think humans are too different from them for close relationships. Others think we might be good partners. What you decide could influence how all aliens see humanity. A new alien Jake had never seen before stood up. He was tall and thin with purple skin and 4 arms. I am Ambassador Klex of the Zenthari Federation, the alien said. My people are concerned about humans mixing their customs with ours. We prefer to keep our cultures separate. Another alien, this one short and round with blue fur, disagreed. The Fluhari Collective believes diversity makes us stronger. We support interspecies cooperation. Jake felt overwhelmed. How had cleaning some armor turned into a debate about the future of human-alien relations? High Counselor Thexara raised her hand for silence. This is not a decision for committees or governments to make. This is a personal choice between 2 individuals. But the consequences affect everyone, Ambassador Klex argued. Yes, the High Counselor agreed, but forcing a choice would make it meaningless. The ritual only works if it comes from the heart. That night, Jake walked through the quiet corridors of the station. He needed time to think without people asking him questions or giving him advice. He found himself outside Zareth's room. He almost walked away, but then he heard something that made him stop. Music. Sad, beautiful music, unlike anything he had ever heard. Jake pressed the door chime. The music stopped, and a moment later, Zareth opened the door. I am sorry to bother you, Jake said. I heard music. I was playing my Velharp. It helps me think. It was beautiful. Sad, but beautiful. Zareth stepped aside to let him in. Her room was decorated with things from her homeworld. Strange plants grew in crystal containers. Art covered the walls, showing landscapes of alien worlds. The Velharp sat on a stand near the window. It looked like a cross between a guitar and a harp, with strings that glowed softly in the dark. Will you play something else? Jake asked. Zareth picked up the instrument and began to play. This song was different, lighter, and more hopeful. As she played, she began to sing in her own language. Her voice was clear and sweet. When she finished, Jake applauded softly. What was that song about? It is about leaving home to find your place in the universe. Every young Veltar learns it before they begin their adult life. Is that what you are doing? Finding your place? I thought I was. But now I'm not sure where I belong. Jake looked out the window at the stars. Maybe that is okay. Maybe not knowing where you belong means you get to choose. Zareth set down her instrument. Is that what you are doing? Choosing where you belong? I guess so. A few days ago, I thought I knew exactly who I was and what my life would be like. Now everything has changed. Are you afraid? Jake considered the question. Yes, but also excited. Maybe this is a chance to become something more than I thought I could be. Zareth smiled for the first time since Jake had met her. I think I understand why my people value kindness so much. It takes courage to be kind to strangers. It does not feel like courage. It just feels like the right thing to do. That is what makes it courage. Jake had one more day to make his decision. But as he looked at Zareth sitting in her room full of art and music, playing songs about finding your place in the universe, he began to think he already knew what his answer would be. Jake woke up on his last day feeling different. The fear and confusion of the past 2 days had been replaced by something else. Curiosity. He wanted to learn more about Zareth and her people before he made his final decision. After breakfast, Jake went to the station's library. Dr. Turner had given him access to files about Veltar history and culture. Jake spent the morning reading everything he could find. The Veltar were an old race. They had been traveling between stars for thousands of years before humans learned to fly. But they were not conquerors. They preferred to trade and make alliances rather than fight wars. Their society was built on honor and family connections. Children were raised by entire communities, not just their parents. Everyone had a duty to help others and to improve themselves. What impressed Jake most was their approach to problems. When the Veltar faced difficulties, they did not just look for quick solutions. They studied the problem from every angle. They asked how their actions would affect future generations. They tried to find answers that would help everyone, not just themselves. At lunch, Jake met his sister Maya, who had come to visit the station. Maya worked for the Earth government as a cultural advisor. She had arrived that morning to help Jake understand his options. "You look better," Maya said as they sat down with their food. "I feel better, less confused. Have you decided what you are going to do?" Jake took a bite of his sandwich before answering. "I think so, but I want to ask you something first." "What?" "What would Mom and Dad think about this?" Maya smiled. "Dad would probably be excited. You know how he loves meeting new people and learning about different cultures. Mom would be worried about you being so far from home. But would they think I was crazy for considering this? Honestly, I think they would be proud of you. Why? Because you are doing something brave. You are choosing to build bridges instead of walls. That is how they raised us." That afternoon, Jake had a surprise visitor. Elder Vorthak, the oldest Veltar historian, had arrived on the station. He was ancient even by Veltar standards. His skin was almost white, and he moved slowly with the help of a walking stick. Dr. Turner brought the elder to meet Jake in the library. "Young human," Elder Vorthak said in a voice like rustling leaves, "I have come to tell you something important about the armor ritual." They sat together at a table covered with books and computer tablets. Elder Vorthak moved slowly, but his eyes were bright and alert. "The scholars have been wrong about something," the elder said. "They think the armor cleaning ritual is only about marriage. But it is older than that. What do you mean?" Jake asked. Long ago, before Veltar had formal marriage ceremonies, warriors would return from long journeys. They would be tired and dirty and sometimes hurt in their hearts from things they had seen. The elder picked up one of Jake's books and looked at the pictures of Veltar armor. Other warriors would clean their armor for them. Not mates, not family, just friends who cared. The cleaning was a way to say, "I see your burdens. I will help you carry them. I will help you remember who you are underneath the dirt and pain." Jake felt something click in his mind. So it is not just about marriage? No. Marriage came later, when our society became more formal. But the heart of the ritual is about caring for another person, about seeing them clearly without judgment. Dr. Turner leaned forward. "This changes everything. If the ritual is fundamentally about compassion rather than romance, then Jake's action takes on a different meaning." Elder Vorthak nodded. The young human did not accidentally propose marriage. He performed an act of pure compassion. This is what our laws truly honor. "What does this mean for me and Zarath?" Jake asked. "It means you have choices you did not know you had," the elder said. "The ritual can be completed as a marriage bond, or it can be completed as something new, a bond of friendship and understanding between species." Jake felt a weight lift from his shoulders. "You mean I do not have to marry her?" "You do not have to do anything," Elder Vorthak said. "But you have started something beautiful. The question is how you want to finish it." That evening, Jake found Zarath in the station's observation deck. She was looking out at the stars, still and quiet. "May I join you?" Jake asked. "Yes, please." They stood side by side at the large window. The view was incredible. Stars and nebulas stretched in every direction, painting space in colors Jake had no names for. "Elder Vorthak came to see me today," Jake said. "I know. He spoke with me as well. What did you think about what he said?" Zarath was quiet for a moment. "It makes sense. I always wondered why the ritual felt so important even when performed between people who barely knew each other. Now I understand. It is not about romantic love. It is about human connection. So what happens now? Now we decide what kind of connection we want to have." Jake turned to look at her. "What kind do you want?" "I want to know you better," Zarath said. "These past few days talking with you, learning about your culture, it has been the most interesting part of my mission here." "More interesting than studying our technology?" "Much more. Technology is just tools. But culture, the way people think and feel and treat each other, that is what really matters." "I want to know you better too," Jake said. "I have never met anyone like you." "What does that mean?" Jake tried to find the right words. You are smart and strong, but also kind. You care about doing the right thing even when it is difficult. You make me want to be better than I am. Zareth smiled. You already are better than you think. What you did with my armor, the care you showed, no one has ever done anything like that for me. Not even your family? My family loves me, but they have always seen me as a symbol of our house's honor. A tool to strengthen political alliances. You saw me as a person who needed help. They watched the stars in comfortable silence. Finally, Jake spoke. I have made my decision. What is it? I want to complete the ritual with you. Not as a marriage, but as something new. A partnership between our peoples. Zareth turned to face him. Are you sure? This will change your life. You will become part of Veltar society. You will have responsibilities you never expected. I am sure. But only if you want it too. I do want it. But I want you to understand what you are choosing. If we do this, we will be bound together. Not as husband and wife, but as partners in representing both our peoples. What would that mean exactly? It would mean we work together to build understanding between humans and Veltar. We would travel to both our worlds. We would help solve problems between our species. We would be ambassadors for peace and friendship. Jake thought about his simple life as a maintenance worker. Then he thought about the possibility of exploring the galaxy, meeting new species, helping to build a better future for both humans and aliens. That sounds amazing, he said. But are you ready to give up your old life too? I think my old life was preparing me for this, Zareth said. I was sent here to study humans and decide if we could be allies. What better way to do that than to become allied with one? So we are really going to do this? If you want to. Jake held out his hand to her. Partners? Zareth took his hand in both of hers. Her skin was warm and soft. Partners. The next morning, Jake and Zareth met with all the diplomats and officials. The meeting room was packed with humans and aliens from several different species. We have made our decision, Zareth announced. We will complete the ritual, but in a new way. We will create a bond of partnership and friendship between our peoples. High Counselor Thexara stood up. This is unprecedented. Our laws do not account for such an arrangement. Then perhaps it is time to expand our laws, Elder Vorthak said. He had stayed on the station specifically for this meeting. Young people often show us new possibilities we had not considered. Ambassador Rodriguez looked relieved. This could be exactly what we need. A formal alliance between individual representatives of our species. What would this partnership involve? Asked Dr. Campbell. Jake stood up. Zareth and I would work together to help our peoples understand each other better. We would study problems that affect both species and try to find solutions. And we would serve as examples, Zareth added, that humans and Veltar can work together as equals. Commander Burke leaned back in his chair. This is not what anyone expected when this situation started. Sometimes the unexpected is exactly what we need, Jake said. High Counselor Thexara looked around the room. If both of you are certain this is what you want, then the Veltar Empire will support this new kind of partnership. Earth government will support it as well, Ambassador Rodriguez said. Elder Vorthak tapped his walking stick on the floor. Then let us plan a ceremony. Not a wedding, but something new. A celebration of friendship between worlds. As the meeting broke up and people began making plans for the ceremony, Jake felt a sense of excitement he had never experienced before. 3 days ago, he had been a simple maintenance worker with a quiet, predictable life. Now he was about to become a bridge between species, a symbol of what was possible when people chose understanding over fear. He looked at Zareth, who was talking excitedly with Elder Vorthak about Veltar ceremonial traditions. She caught his eye and smiled. Jake smiled back. He had no idea what challenges lay ahead, but he was ready to face them. Together they would build something new and beautiful between the stars. The ceremony took place 1 week later in the station's main hall. Jake had never seen so many different species in one place. Humans, Veltar, and representatives from 12 other alien races filled the large room. Jake stood at the front of the hall wearing his best clothes. They were not fancy, just a clean shirt and pants, but they were his. Zareth had told him it was important that he dress as himself, not as someone he was trying to be. Zareth stood beside him wearing her armor. The same armor Jake had cleaned a week ago. It shone like starlight, every symbol clear and beautiful. But now Jake could read some of the symbols. Zareth had been teaching him Veltar writing during their planning sessions. Elder Vorthak stood between them. his ancient voice carrying clearly through the hall. "Today we witness something new," he said. "Not a marriage in the traditional sense, but a joining of hearts and minds across the space between worlds." The elder held up a small crystal bowl filled with water from Zarath's homeworld. In the old days, when warriors returned from journeys, their friends would wash the dust from their armor with water from home. This reminded them who they were and where they belonged. Zarath took the bowl and carefully poured a small amount of water onto a cloth. Then she began cleaning a section of her own armor, the part that covered her heart. "I clean this myself to show that I choose this path freely," she said. "I am not bound by duty or politics, but by friendship and hope for the future." She handed the bowl to Jake. His hand shook slightly as he took it. "I do not have armor," Jake said, following the script they had worked out together. "But I have something else." Jake reached into his pocket and pulled out his maintenance badge. It was a simple metal pin that showed he was qualified to work on alien technology. He had worn it every day for 3 years. "This badge represents my promise to take care of things that are important to others," Jake said. "Today I make a new promise, to take care of the friendship between our peoples." Jake dipped his cloth in the water and carefully cleaned his badge until it shined like new. "And I promise to take care of you," Zarath said, "as you took care of my armor when I was too tired to do it myself." Elder Vorthak smiled. "Then by the ancient laws of compassion and the new laws of friendship, I declare you partners across the stars." The hall erupted in applause and cheers from dozens of different species. Jake felt tears on his face, but he was not sad. He was happy in a way he had never been before. After the ceremony, there was a huge celebration. Tables of food from many different worlds filled the hall. Music played, mixing human songs with alien melodies. People danced, talked, and laughed together. Jake found himself surrounded by beings he had only read about in books. A Fluhari diplomat with blue fur asked him about human music. A Xanthari engineer wanted to know about his maintenance techniques. Everyone seemed genuinely interested in learning about humans. "This is what we hoped for," Ambassador Rodriguez told him. "Real connection between species." Later, Jake and Zarath stepped outside onto one of the station's observation decks. The party continued inside, but they needed a moment of quiet. "How do you feel?" Zarath asked. "Different," Jake said. "Like I am still me, but more than I was before." "I feel the same way." They looked out at the stars. In the distance, Jake could see a Veltar ship arriving with supplies and new diplomats. Soon he and Zarath would begin their work together. "Are you nervous about visiting my homeworld?" Zarath asked, a little. "Are you nervous about visiting Earth?" "Very much." "What if your people do not like me?" Jake laughed. "Are you kidding? My parents are going to love you. My mom will probably try to adopt you. And my dad will want to hear every story you have about space travel. And my family will be fascinated by you. They have many questions about human engineering and problem-solving methods." "What kind of problems will we be working on?" Zarath pulled out a small computer tablet and showed Jake a list of projects. "This is just the beginning," she said. "Trade disputes between human colonies and Veltar outposts. Communication problems caused by language differences. Technical challenges that require both human creativity and Veltar precision." Jake looked at the list. Each problem seemed important and complicated. A few weeks ago, his biggest challenge had been fixing a broken water recycler. "Do you think we can handle all this?" he asked. "I think we can handle anything if we work together," Zarath said. "You have something my people value but do not always practice." "What is that?" "The ability to see simple solutions to complex problems. You saw that my armor was dirty, so you cleaned it. You did not worry about politics or customs or consequences. You just helped. Sometimes simple is better than complicated." "Yes. And sometimes what seems like a small action can change everything." 6 months later, Jake stood in the engineering bay of a Veltar ship orbiting a distant planet. He and Zarath were helping to solve a crisis between human colonists and Veltar traders. The colonists needed a rare mineral to power their equipment. The Veltar had the mineral but wanted to trade it for human art and music, which the colonists thought was a waste of time. "They do not understand each other's values," Zarath had explained during their journey to the planet. Jake studied the situation for several days. He talked to both the colonists and the Veltar traders. He learned about their needs and their fears. Finally, he proposed a solution that surprised everyone. "What if the colonists do not just trade their art?" Jake suggested. But also teach the Veltar how to make human art? And what if the Veltar teach the colonists about mineral processing? Everyone gets what they need, plus they learn something new. The Veltar traders were intrigued. They had always been curious about human creativity. The colonists realized that learning Veltar mineral techniques could help them find their own sources of the materials they needed. 3 weeks later, the planet hosted its first interspecies art festival. Human painters worked alongside Veltar sculptors. Colonist children learned Veltar songs while Veltar youngsters tried human instruments. "You did it again," Zareth told Jake as they watched humans and Veltar dancing together under the planet's 2 moons. "We did it," Jake corrected her. "I could not have understood the Veltar perspective without you, and I could not have seen the simple solution without you." Jake looked around at the celebration. Humans and Veltar were not just trading goods anymore. They were sharing ideas, stories, and dreams. Children from both species played together, creating games that mixed human and Veltar rules. "This is what the galaxy could be like," Jake said. "What do you mean?" "All these different species working together instead of staying separate. Learning from each other. Making something beautiful together." Zareth smiled. "My people have a saying, the garden grows strongest when different flowers share the same soil." "I like that. What do humans say about cooperation?" Jake thought for a moment. "We say that many hands make light work. It means that jobs are easier when everyone helps. Then perhaps our job is to give many hands the chance to work together." That night, Jake sent a message to his parents on Earth. He told them about the art festival and the successful trade agreement. He told them about the Veltar children who were learning to play human games and the human artists who were creating sculptures in Veltar style. "I am happy," he wrote. "I found something I did not know I was looking for. A purpose bigger than just fixing things that break. Now I help fix relationships between peoples. Zareth and I are planning to visit 15 more planets this year. Each one has its own challenges, but also its own opportunities for bringing species together." Jake paused in his writing and looked out the window of their ship. They were traveling to their next assignment, a space station where 3 different species were having trouble sharing resources. Zareth was sleeping in the cabin next to his. She had been working late, studying the languages and customs of the species they would meet. She always prepared thoroughly for each mission. Jake smiled and continued writing his message. "I know this life is not what you expected for me when I became a maintenance worker, but in a way I am still doing the same job. I am still fixing things and cleaning things and helping people take care of what is important to them. The only difference is that now the things I take care of are friendships between worlds." Zareth says that what I did with her armor was not an accident. She says humans have a gift for seeing what needs to be done and just doing it, without worrying about whether it is their job or not. She says this is why other species need us in the galaxy, not because we are the strongest or the smartest, but because we care about everyone, even strangers. I hope she is right. I hope that what we are doing makes a difference. Every time we help 2 species understand each other better, the galaxy becomes a little bit safer and a little bit friendlier for everyone. Jake finished his message and sent it toward Earth. Then he prepared for sleep. Tomorrow would bring new challenges and new opportunities to build bridges between worlds. As he drifted off to sleep, Jake thought about the day he had cleaned Zareth's armor. Such a simple action. He had just wanted to help someone who looked tired. Now that simple action had led to a new kind of diplomatic relationship. It had created opportunities for cooperation between species that had never worked together before. It had shown